FIFA 21 to me is the series at one of its lowest points. It's a horrible, empty, soulless game that I personally get no enjoyment from. In fact, for me, I stopped playing it around January this year when I realised it's just frustrating. The gameplay issues just make it tedious to play, and the insane focus on Ultimate Team means that gameplay modes that really do need that attention are just be left by the wayside. I'm not alone in this. As a community, this year, it's just been a down year. I've spoken to so many people personally who have said that they don't enjoy the game or it's just not what they're looking to play. And that's not a good spot to be in. With FIFA 22, EA really needs to get the fans back on side. And sure, the game's going to sell amazingly well as it always does. But if that's all that matters to EA, then we should be concerned. The thing is, let's be honest, people are starting to see this game for what it is. An annually released casino masquerading as a football game, and that's about it. There's been a lack of real significant advancements over the last few years, and the gameplay's regressed. Now, EA are promising a lot with all this hypermotion stuff, but it, again, just feels like stuff we all heard before. It's not a great morale booster when the game's getting comments like this on its reveal trailer. For me personally, I was looking forward to see what Konami was doing with PES this year, given that they basically fucked off last year. And well, at the minute, I'm not hopeful. Firstly, RIP PES. Secondly, the free-to-play model I honestly thought was something that EA would have done first, given that Ultimate Team is basically the whole game. And from a gameplay perspective, that demo that they released, the new online test football monstrosity, didn't fill me with hope for the game. They did say it was an early build, but I'm really hoping that this is not what the finished game comes out like, because it really wasn't it. Konami have to prove themselves, and as much as I'm not a fan of Konami, I hope they give EA some competition because they desperately need it. In terms of FIFA 22, I am not fucking hopeful for this game in the slightest. It's not even out yet and it's catching flack, and for really good reason. EA have been so vague about a lot of what's meant to be good about this game, and to me the little bits they have shown haven't really demonstrated a lot. Their definition of gameplay has seemingly got looser and looser as the years have worn on, and again it's just left me feeling a bit skeptical. We've heard all this stuff about animation and intelligence before, and yet every time we boot up the game, every year players still react like they've got dog shit for brains, and I just can't see that changing. They've got to do some serious work to prove us wrong, but at the minute, I'm not impressed. They've also taken a really backwards and really odd approach towards both PC gamers and those wanting to own the game across generations. One of the few good things about FIFA 21 was the dual entitlement system. If you own the game on PS4, you got it on PS5 when you managed to upgrade. It was great for those that managed to get an upgrade. So imagine my surprise when you think the most logical thing to do would be keep that system in place, especially given that people can't actually buy these next gen consoles because they're either being scalped or always out of stock. EA decided to be EA and do a complete 180. They've locked owning both versions of the game essentially behind the Ultimate Edition of the game, which is £90 here in the UK. Now, that's just ridiculous to me. You've taken a really good and, quite frankly, consumer-friendly step in allowing people to own both versions if they want to, and now locking it behind the Ultimate Edition of the game, which you did not do last year. It just feels like typical EA behaviour. Their stance on PC gaming is just weird. I know the PC isn't EA's biggest install base for FIFA, it never will be. EA have locked the next gen version of the game onto those systems, and Stadia of all things. You can't play the next gen version of the game, or what should be essentially the current gen version of the game, on PC. You're stuck with the PS4 and Xbox One version, which again is just frankly weird, especially considering that a big part of PC gaming is being able to customize your system, build a system yourself, and sort of scale the games you play based on the hardware. their approach of we don't want it to exclude anyone, it just sucks. It doesn't hold up, and it's just typical EA corporate bullshit, and I don't think many people are fooled by it anymore. For me, all of these issues, along with everything, like there's a lot of issues going on with this game and this series in general, especially with the rumors that it's going free to play next year, have made me wonder whether it's worth it or not. I don't enjoy FIFA. I don't get a buzz out of playing it every year. If anything, it just aggravates me to the point where I just want to turn it off. I'm a huge football fan, and that's always what's going to get me in. However, if it's going to come from the cost of my enjoyment, I think I'll be sticking to far superior football games for the time being.